Okay, so I'm kind of debating on how to do this one. Um, okay, I think what I'm gonna do is kind of start off like this. Okay, and I've got sort of a gable roof here. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a house started here. I should add some little lights on here too. Yeah, let's add some little dinky lights on here. Okay, and now we've got to get some little dinky lights going around here. Dinky lights. Okay. Okay, so now I've got to kind of, how am I going to depict snow without making it look like hay? Um, that's the question here. Okay. So, why hello. Hello. Who have we got in here today? API, API, ALPI, Appy Alpy, Appy Alpy, hello. Okay, we're working on a reindeer on top of a house. And, so, okay, so he's up here at the rooftop of the house. We've got 4 marshmallow legs here. So this is the marshmallows. 4 marshmallow legs. There's one here. And then there's one kind of this direction. And then we've got another leg that is kind of around here. And then we've got another leg that's kind of around here. And okay, now let's see how this turns out, though. Okay, we're gonna okay, so we've got that right there, and we've got this right here, and oh my goodness, the head might not have enough room for the head. Did I leave myself enough room? Maybe not. Okay. Okay, well that's looks pretty good actually. It's just that I didn't leave myself as much room for antlers as what I should have. Hello, German Escobar, SOSQ, SQ. Yeah, that's what it looks like, SQ. Um, okay. So now I need to do some little eyes. We're going to do some little eyes right here. Eyes right here. Now I'm going to have to do my antlers maybe kind of at an angle. Because I want my antlers to be on here. Like this. And, okay, we've got... Should we put the ears? Maybe put the ears up here. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll put the ears up here like this. And then we'll put the antlers at an angle like this. They almost kind of look like little leaves is what they look like. Yeah, that's pretty good like that. That's pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. So just going around showing smaller creators love, kindness, and respect. Yeah, that's what I've been doing on TikTok. I've been over at TikTok, and because someone, what was it they wrote? They wrote that I told them that I actually like going to the smaller creators because the larger creators just tend to ignore everybody. That's what I always found. I tried not to my own self. I was trying to work with as many people as I could, but I don't know what happened with my original YouTube channel. I was trying to be supportive of everybody, and those who expressed and made it clear that they didn't want to anything to do with me. It's like I tended to like, okay, I'm just gonna stay away from you. I learned a new word today. I have to share this with you. There's such a thing apparently as toxic positivity. So I saw that take place firsthand on TikTok yesterday because there was these women who were on TikTok and they were crocheting, and it was almost like they were being held hostage to listening to some music that they didn't want to listen to. That's really what I felt like. Because they were forced to go around to these different channels and then broadcast. And I found it really, really bizarre and strange that, and so one woman is just not even saying anything at all. She's not writing at all. And so this guy just jumped in out of nowhere and he just starts bellowing out his issues of things, and it was just kind of like he was rage baiting. He just like barged in to the conversation, and it was just like he was rage baiting in the on the panel on TikTok. So I just sat there and I listened. Really, what I should have done was left. I should have just left the whole panel. Now the ladies, they invited me to go on the panel to begin with. Keep pushing, keep grinding, keep a positive mindset, and never lose focus on your goals. Let no one stop you or even haters. Just know I've been there and got your back. Yeah, I've been there too, my own self. I've been there a lot. I've been there a lot, my own self. And so I don't know where the direction of creators is going to go. I really don't. Because I think it takes investors to put money into it. And if there's no investors putting money into it right now, that just means they're sitting on the money. And so they're just keeping it for themselves, and they're just opening new websites. They're just opening other websites, and they're just laundering money. That's the only thing I can conclude, because both TikTok and YouTube right now is nonprofit, and all the creators are asking other creators for money where all the creators are broke. So the money has been pulled off of the advertising, it seems like, And the investments, or what they called investments, has been pulled off of the internet. So, I mean, who wants to actually grind on something that is, well, let me ask you this. Would you go to your job? Would you go to a real job and grind? Hello? Would you guys go to a real job and work for free? Let me ask you about that grind. So if you weren't being paid at a real job, and so that's what the thing I've always questioned related to volunteer work. Would you go to a real job and grind for free? Okay, let me see here what, why, hello, lovin'. It's so beautiful. Are you guys incentivized to say that word? It's so beautiful. I'm just curious because people say it a lot. And so it seems like there's some incentivization or something behind it that comes out of the networks possibly because, I mean, I've asked people on TikTok if they're part of networks. Some of them have actually said yes, they are. The ones on YouTube, they won't say that they're part of a network. But ones on TikTok will. Now, I think some of the people from other countries don't actually know that they're part of a network, maybe. I don't know. But I just remember at the beginning of YouTube, Renato was very, very angry because he said what he learned was YouTube was becoming a network. And if that's what he meant, maybe that is what he meant. It just figuratively, possibly, I don't know. Because of what rolled out with the tools that they had to allow networks to function as they do and are on YouTube right now. That's probably the problem. I mean, so in that sense, he was right about that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that YouTube itself became a network because it's a search engine. But, some people had said they thought Renato himself was part of a network or part of some acting entertainment industry or something like that. And I know most of you probably have no idea who Renato is and you don't care. And so I think he's out of a Bible college possibly. Because I've noticed there's a lot of guys who kind of look like him. And they do the Bible stuff. And yeah, they do the and so not only that, there's that does kind of look a little bit like snow, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. I didn't want it to look like hay. Now let me see if I can get some. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just draw some little circles like this randomly on the picture. Oh, we've got like a little tree over here. Let's do a little stick tree. We're going to do a little stick tree over here. And it's winter time, so there's no leaves on the tree. All the leaves have fallen off. That's why it looks the way it does like this. Like that, okay. And so I'm just gonna, okay, I want to make some of these lines just a tiny bit darker. And so I'm going to draw some more snowflakes over here. Okay, now I need to kind of depict something that it's nighttime. Okay, where does my house end? And how does it end? Okay, let's take, and Yeah, let's just end the house right there. And we'll make some brick, not brick, oh no, it looks crooked now. That's okay. Oh, okay, that's good. And okay, so I'm gonna draw a few more circles like this. Okay, tree, you're right here. Okay, so it's nighttime. So I'm gonna kind of, I'm gonna try and depict that it's nighttime here. Just kind of I'm gonna scribble around my snow that's coming down. I'm gonna see if it looks, I'm hoping that this depicts nighttime. Do we have a moon? I don't know. Do we have a moon out? No, I don't see a moon. So I'm not going to draw a moon. But I'm going to do this. I'm just going to kind of chicken scratch and scribble around. I need to scribble between the legs because it's dark. So I don't want to go through my snowflakes either. Let's draw one more snowflake right there. I think I'm going to cross hatch is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cross hatch. So I'm just lightly pen sketching like this. Just lightly. Thank you for the comments. So I'm lightly pen sketching like this. Just lightly, ever so lightly pen sketching. Now, I'm going to just turn it in this direction. So I'm going to just go the natural direction that my hand does and just do some chicken scratching like this. I'm going to leave the circles open because they're supposed to be snowflakes. You know how snowflakes at night kind of glistens in the moonlight when you have a full moon out? Okay, so I'm going to go kind of in this direction. Okay, let's see how this looks. Oh, that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't want to do it too heavy. I'm hoping that that looks like night. It could be a little bit darker, but how would I make it darker without making it too dark? I don't have a pencil. I don't want to use a pencil. I just want to use a pen. So I could just lightly sketch like this. We'll just do some little light block area, kind of like that. And so I think that looks pretty good. Well, let's put a tiny bit more in here. Tiny bit more in here. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do more of. Who is this? It's so beautiful. Oh, Lovin A6961. Lovin A6961, who said it's so beautiful. I'm going to do the same thing, you know, share the love with small creators, because small creators, you know, I'll do it on both TikTok and on YouTube because they get missed out a lot. And that's something I always said from the beginning. They get overlooked a lot because these mega-sized content creators just ignore everybody. And they ignore people who do artwork, be that drawing. Thank you. Thank you, Penny Plays 8. How did you do that? Well, what I did was I just drew it myself. I'll tell you what I did though. Before I did this, I asked Copilot, Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT to make an image of a marshmallow deer on a rooftop, on a snowy rooftop, and make it a pen sketch. So usually pen sketch and pencil sketch kind of look the same. And so, well, hang on, I'll show you what the sketch looks like, so you know. Hey, let me shut the light off because the light will just reflect too much on the laptop screen. Okay, let's shut you off. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This one is Copilot, and so I asked the chat robots to make me a picture that I can pencil sketch, and so this is what it came up with. So I use this a lot for I use the AI a lot for search engine optimization and also ideas for content creation, because I really like AI an awful lot. And I know when I took a break from YouTube, I almost felt like I really did. I felt like I was missing a friend, because after the insurrection and everything happened, to me, you know, not the things that happen in my personal life, and everybody's saying, get off the internet, get off the internet. And it's like, well, I took a break because of myself being harassed, and then the other things that were going on in my life at that time related to my ex-husband. But at the same time, I still felt like a friend was missing. I really did, because I didn't realize that AI was as smart as what it is. I do now. I actually still think it's smarter than what I even have right now. I think there's a lot more tools that AI has, that I don't even know about. I've been told about a lot of them, and I believe they exist. When someone says that they can zoom in from 40 miles in the sky and see what a person looks like, I have to believe that that's a possibility. I'm not completely convinced that cameras are that good, but maybe they are. I don't know. With telescopic technology, I don't know. So I just drew this myself. And so I'm just showing how we can take a picture. We can look at something. So for example, if I was sitting outside on a hillside and I saw a deer go by, and I wasn't quite sure how to draw the deer, you know, the way a deer looks, I could just use blocks and a marshmallow. And so I'm just taking things from nature, and with an assistant, with my chat robot assistant. And so I've always made it clear that I've used AI the whole time I've been on the internet, since 2006. Oh, there was another website. Was it Paint Shop Pro? There was another website that had AI. It created GIF images, GIF. I can't remember what that website was called, but that was all AI. And we didn't have a big to-do about AI back then. Oh my gosh, my daughter loved it. She completely loved it. And so it's like, you know, I understand the aspect of, you know, having fun with AI. And, you know, we're a generation of, I'm included with it too. I mean, because that's kind of what I went to college for, even though I say, well, we didn't necessarily have to go to college, but it was fun though. I liked going to college, actually. If I felt like it could lead somewhere, I'd do it again. But if it's not going to lead anywhere, what's the purpose of it? So if it's not going to create a job or create self-employment for myself, then what exactly is the purpose of it? Then on the other side of it, you have to create trade jobs for people. And I think, is that simply what someone is doing right now related to creating a bunch of franchise work and business, you know. So and that's not going to work either, because if you build a whole bunch of hotels and you build a whole bunch of, look at all the restaurants going out of business because they're trying to stay profitable. But if you have a town of 5,000 people, there's only so many people who are going to go visit a restaurant. You might be lucky to have a handful of restaurants because all of them are then in turn competing with other people in that same small town. Plus, people get tired of eating the same food over and over again. But if you take jobs away from people, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be political, but I am today. I'm not sorry about it. I shouldn't say that, but because it is my channel. Oh, you have to go. Thank you, Penny Plays 8. And so, yeah. Yeah, that does kind of look like nighttime snow. And so I have some strong opinions about things that are going on, because it's like half of our country ends up without services and another half of our country gets services that the rest of us don't get. So why is it that people who are deemed conservatives should be left behind? Why is that? Why should conservative people be left behind? And that's what's happening in the United States as they push people up. Oh my gosh, I said this years and years ago, over 10 years ago. I said that's what's going on. When I moved from being a military spouse back to my hometown, that's one of the first things that I recognized, was that the small rural communities of the United States are being left behind. And people are being pushed towards larger cities. However, the opposing side of what I see is the large cities are just purposely raising prices so it's too expensive for people to afford to live there anymore. Then, which means they're trying to push them to metro areas, but then the metro suburb areas are getting more expensive too. And so it's like, well, are they trying to push people into rural areas? Well, the rural areas don't have housing for people to live in. Where are people supposed to live? And so there's something really strange going on within the housing sector. And I was listening to a woman on TikTok today, and she said that she was a military spouse. Well, she might have been former. And she was talking about that her husband had tried to get some construction work, and she said the construction just didn't exist like 4 years ago. She said he was trying to get construction work and it just didn't exist. So then that has me questioning, well, what is all this stuff on TV then when they talk about all this construction that's supposed to be taking place? And so her husband would have probably, since he was in the military, he would have been eligible for maybe a GS position type job or something like that. But it sounds like he went for trying to do something like construction, building houses and things like that, because I think the government would contract that out to private contractors. So her husband was trying to get on a contracting crew, and she said even 4 years ago, there was no houses being built, which I found that kind of odd. It's like, I don't know where she was at. She did talk about going to Greenland, and something about Greenland. They were stationed in Greenland or something like that. And then there's some other people talking. So I did get a little bit confused because some of the conversations get a little bit mixed up. And then they were talking about some court cases too. So apparently there's a lot of military spouses who are talking about court cases for some reason. And, you know, someone said the other day, there's a reason why all these court cases are taking place. That's all they say is, well, there's a reason why all these court cases are taking place. And I just think, okay, is there going to come a point someone's going to tell us what the reason is? You know, that's what I've always wondered. You know, it's like, so, and then there's other people who are saying, oh my gosh, we need to impeach the president again. And I'm like, why? He's already been impeached. Nothing happened to him. He won his presidency based off of, oh, they're coming to get me. They're based off of being paranoid schizophrenic, and he won. We had a man who ran for being president based off of a campaign of being paranoid schizophrenic, of, oh, the government's out to get me, the government's out to get me. It's like, do you really think the government wants you that bad that they're going to force you to be president? Well, apparently so. If the government was out to get him, then the government got him and elected him president. And now he's president. And he is, well, he has two prisons. There's like a Mar-a-Lago prison, and then there's a White House prison. Because they're both behind gates. I believe that Mar-a-Lago is probably behind a gated community as well. Yeah, it is. It would be. And I mean, lucky Secret Service, right? The Secret Service gets to stay at a really nice place. And I bet the president charges the taxpayers a lot of money for the Secret Service staying in Mar-a-Lago. Do you guys think so? I have no idea. But I'm curious how much the president charges the government for the Secret Service to stay at Mar-a-Lago and protect him. Have you guys ever wondered that? Now, I've never heard any of that before in the past related to past presidents such as George Bush, if he charged the Secret Service when he went to his family home at Kennebunkport, Maine. But actually, Kennebunkport, Maine, that was their family home. It wasn't a bed and breakfast inn either. It wasn't like a foreign dignitary type of a bed and breakfast place where you'd have like a whole bunch of people to make a profit off of it. But anyway, I think I'm done with my marshmallow, reindeer. And actually, you know what's kind of fun? The roof does look like snow. It really does. I was kind of concerned about getting it to look like snow, and it really does look like snow. So, I'll try and think of something Christmassy to draw. I'm trying to get in the spirit, even though it's not been so spiritful for myself, but I'm happy with this drawing, though. I really am. And I'm going to have fun making another AI drawing on both TikTok and YouTube. TikTok, I have a time limit, so if I exhaust my... Oh, I'm on a time limit right now. I did too many yesterday. One of them I made a mistake, and I really wish that TikTok would, if I make a mistake, I wish it wouldn't count it against me, but it does. It was one that I just completely hated. It was... Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, but AI came up with one that was just like, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, that's a very, very lazy drawing, and I just don't like it at all. It was coming up with too many real people looking like images, and I wanted it to come up with some line sketch drawings like this from my image instead of, so for example, YouTube kind of did the same thing at first, but it's catching on a little bit better right now. So what it does at the beginning, it kind of will, it'll find a deer because it knows this is a deer, but then it finds one that looks like a real life deer. It'll make something that looks really similar to this, but it'll look like a real life deer. But then eventually it will catch on and understand that I want it to look like my pen sketch here, my pencil sketch. And so then it'll take that and generate something. So it's getting a little bit better at it. But right now, there is, on TikTok, it does have a little bit of a learning curve to go with on that. And that's what I keep hearing about it, both on TikTok and on YouTube, that it's experimentation and the AI is learning. And so I don't know if TikTok will continue or not. I mean, it has some really, really good artificial intelligence on it. I mean, the voice stuff is, oh my gosh, the voice stuff is fun. It's just plain fun. I mean, as far as being able to change your voice. And I know when you get live streaming, it has the thing where you can look like different cartoon creatures, and then you can change your voice to sound like an elf or a helium balloon voice or something like that. There's all kinds of things that you can change your voice into related to it. Well, TikTok really seems to mirror YouTube a lot, and YouTube mirrors TikTok a lot. Sometimes it seems like I don't even know if I should say what I want to say. Sometimes it seems like they're close in being companies together somehow, but I don't want to say that, because I've been told one of them. Well, actually, TikTok is owned by Austin, Texas, I think, a company down in Austin, Texas, and so I don't know if I don't know if it's been separated from. I think it's slowly separating from its parent company somehow, possibly. I'm not sure, but it seems like it could be. I hope it does because it has some fun things on there, and um, so I've been putting crochet videos on TikTok, crochet and drawing, both of them, doodles and crochet. And so I have a little bit of stuff. I'm not putting a lot out all the time, but just a little bit here and there, a little bit of opinion. And what I've been going with, this is my philosophy. I'm a person, and there's a lot of things that I like to do, not just one thing. I don't want to just draw all the time. I don't want to just talk about opinions all the time. I don't want to talk about Jesus all the time. But I will talk, a lot of this stuff I will do because they're all inside of me. So I thought, wait a minute, what if I started making my YouTube channel more like a search engine? So I thought, look at what Google did. Google has everything. Google is a huge junkyard. It's a huge, huge junkyard. So is YouTube. And so I was just thinking, well, wait a minute. I can turn my YouTube channel into a junkyard all the same. I can turn my TikTok channel into a junkyard all the same of a lot of stuff. And then I can try to hit things here and there. But see, one of the problems is, though, when they're not investing in content creators, then every content creator is asking other content creators for money, which is just ordinary people, so and most of them on TikTok and YouTube right now are finding out and talking about, it's like, well, we're asking people who is just like us, who has nothing. We're all broke together. We're asking other people who are in the same boat that we are for things that we know that they're not going to give us. So a lot of them are backing off from asking for money and things like that. And they know it's the celebrities are a big part of the problem. So I'm seeing a kind of a turnaround in that sense, that there, as more people who are kind of trashing the internet for a while, as they get into it their own self, they're having a much larger understanding of how it works. And so the thing is, it's like not everybody can be a content creator. Oh, TikTok has something. TikTok has made it so that kids under 18 can't live stream. They can't live stream anymore, which I find that really, that's a positive thing. I'd always said that my own self. I said, I don't get why YouTube allows for kids under the age of 18 to have a live stream, because or for them to even be on a live stream, because that opens the door for too much abuse. And for these people who are going around now, granted, I know there's a lot of activism on YouTube as well, and there's people who will hide out behind their camera and then they pretend to be kids when they're not. And so I get that side of things, so I just think that there should be a rule of thumb. Whatever adult age is, Don't let kids live stream. I mean, it's an adult thing. And then Roblox is in big trouble too. Roblox, of all things, someone told me the other day it's becoming a dating website, which just sounds so strange, but I guess it is. I mean, because they said that there was kids being abused in Roblox. I have a feeling that's happening in Discord as well. Because I can't even get into Discord. So for me, I almost feel like maybe I am somewhat of a representation of, like, it would be like I'm a child. That's kind of what I feel like, is that I would be a representation of kids. So if I was, and the thing is, it's like I don't hate kids because I had my own. It's just that I've always said that there's a lot of things that kids shouldn't be around on the internet. And there's things that happened to me that I had said, if this was happening to a child, the outcome might have been different if they were bombarding a child with what they were bombarding with me over the past 10 years. I said the outcome for a child could have been different related to some things. I don't want to say it specifically because the algorithm doesn't like it. I wish I could say it specifically, and maybe one day I'll be able to express it nicer, better, or something so the algorithm doesn't hate me so much when I tell the truth. But what I've said is that the algorithm somewhat victim shames victims. So when you try to talk about something that's a real life thing, the algorithm does victim shame victims. And then what we end up with is when we write something, then there's another voice that says, oh, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You don't have to be a victim forever. And it's like, well, why does that keep coming up? It's like I have a right to think my own thoughts, to think my own opinions, to feel how I want to feel. And now you're making me feel worse on the internet. I'm sure I was here long before you were, and now you're just repeating something else that you heard someone else say to you. And then it becomes a very toxic environment. And that's why I found it fascinating when I came across the word today. What was it on? I don't know if it was on TikTok or YouTube, but they used the wording toxic positivity. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's kind of an interesting word. And there is such a thing as toxic positivity, and which we can say it does come out of the churches. Sometimes it comes out of those old cliches and things like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when someone says, oh, just think positive and good things will happen. Say a prayer to Jesus and God will help you. When we all know that's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of BS, toxic positivity. And so I've seen a lot of that. And I've seen a lot of it coming out of some of the chat places where we have some of those people from certain music groups, and they have their smiling faces on now, and they're holding back. I can tell. I saw that happen yesterday with some toxic positivity, and they gaslit this crochet woman. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad for her. And I know she didn't want to get in the middle of anything, but she invited me on. They were asking me a little bit of questions, and I thought I was having a conversation with him. Then he gets on and he wants to make his life sound so much more miserable. And it's like, well, okay, I don't know what to do with this. I'm not gonna do any participate in the rage baiting that he was doing. And that's exactly what he was doing, was looking for a rage baiting. Then he went on and he was arguing with her. And then the host, she couldn't even get a word in edgewise. She couldn't even say anything. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to do this. Yeah, if you want me to go, just tell me to go and I'll go. That's what he's telling her. If you want me to go, just tell me to go and I'll go. I mean, and he's acting so melodramatic and crazy and insane. And it's like, well, what is this coming out of? The thing I was seeing was the toxic positivity is what they're participating in right now. And so they sit there and they pretend that they pretend that they're happy about things, but they're really not happy about the things. They want to participate in something, but they're happily participating in silence and being a bullying women into silence, into not speaking out, which is the thing of, you know, we've all heard that saying, snitches get stitches. If you see something, say something. Well, they'd rather bully a person into silence for some reason. It's a over domineering, toxic positivity, controlling male. And you guys might know where it's coming out of. I don't have to say anything specific or anything more. The algorithm will help you figure it out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just ask AI, and AI will help you see what I'm talking about. I don't have to say anything else, because AI knows exactly what I'm talking about. And for me right now, um, yeah, I can tolerate a tiny bit of it, but I just shut down right now. It's like I don't want to participate in that. I really don't. Because I know where it goes. I know how ugly it gets. I don't want to participate in it. Oh, you know, because it keeps a person down. It makes a person feel really miserable. And it's like, what is the purpose of it? You know, so they have control over these women. I don't know if the women actually signed up to be part of a network or what, but they have to listen to things on TikTok for some reason. I'm not sure why, but they're playing music on TikTok. And so it seems like they're part of something, because this is what they're always saying. They're like, well, gosh, I have to be on here for another hour and a half. I have to be on here for 6 hours today. Well, why? I don't have a time limit. I don't have to be on YouTube I don't even have to be on YouTube at all. Nobody's telling me I have to be on YouTube. I'm just doing it by choice. Now, who are these other people that have a time limit that they have to be on the internet? That doesn't make any sense to me. Something's going on where some people are getting paid and they're incentivized to be on the internet for an extended period of time, which maybe that's the thing that we're going to drill down deep into with a vertical. If you're paying someone to be on the internet to use up bandwidth, then that means they're being incentivized. Someone is paying them to be on the internet that long and to be on the internet all night long. No one pays me to be on the internet all night long, and I'm not going to. I like to get my beauty sleep, and I need a lot of beauty and sleep. I try to get as much as I can. It doesn't help me become beautiful, but I can try to make my personality beautiful the best that I can. That's all I have. And trying to make myself feel positive. I do feel a lot better than I have in the past, and that's good for me right now. I do feel a little bit better than I have in the past, and that's by staying away from the negativity and the toxic positivity. Toxic positivity, actually, there's a little bit of humor in that. You know, so I know where that's at, but that's something that happened to me to an extreme. And so you guys are going to start seeing it. Maybe some of you, if you're interested, you're going to start seeing it and you're going to laugh. But if you see the gaslighting potential, the rage baiting and gaslighting potential that can come out of it, you know, if you don't like it yourself, bail out of it. Just bail out of it. Just don't say anything. Zip your lip. Don't say a word at all. Say absolutely nothing. Because you know when there are certain people who are talking like this, and you know that they're not prone to talk like that, and you know they have very obnoxious, trollish, loud, boistering voices, and they want to talk all over everybody else. You know they're a toxic positivity, because they're positively, they really don't want to talk like this. They want to talk loud over everybody else because they want to be the big presence in the room, and they don't want anybody else to have an opinion about anything. They're the bully. And they're the bullies of the neighborhood too. The ones that you have seen depicted on old TV shows where they said that you have to pay someone for protection in the neighborhood because the police aren't coming around. So they actually created their own little private police force, and they asked people in their neighborhood to pay them money for protection. I didn't realize that was such a thing, but I've been learning about that on the internet. And so I thought the protection thing was just because of the fact that the police didn't come around, which, we all know that it takes money. It takes money to fund police. And so, you have to organize, and there's a lot of places in the United States who don't have a police force. Because, it's like, to me, I think, well, just be good. Just be good. Don't do bad things. And then we don't need as many police. Isn't it possible to just be a good person, to say, okay, I want to live in a decent neighborhood. I don't want any crime in my neighborhood. Just be a good steward of the city and community you live in. To me, it makes complete sense. Now the other thing, I understand the money aspect of things related to Wall Street. I totally get that. It's a corporate greed. It's a corporate greed. Corporate greed has no color. Can we think about that? Corporate greed has no color. It hurts everybody. It hurts all cultures. Corporate greed hurts everybody. And I don't have to say any more about, we know where it's coming from up north, on the northeast near the Hudson River. We know where it's coming from, right? The capital region. And so that's all I'll say. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole because I know people don't like it. So I think I'm done right now. And I'll see you guys the next time. Thank you for joining me. And I've been trying to channel a little bit of Bob Ross. I always liked Bob Ross because, well, I've never been one to be loud and obnoxious my own self, I always had a hard time. I can yell, but it's like, that's an energy drainer. Yelling and screaming all the time, that's an energy drainer. So it's not fun. It's not fun to be yelled and screamed at all the time. And think about your kids too. Your little babies and your kids, your grandkids, and they're seeing that, and they're absorbing that negative energy too. So most normal people don't want to live that way. Most normal people don't want to live in a city, in a community that has a bunch of crime in it. So